Hey everyone. So today we're going to take a look at what Cardinal can do for you in terms of being an effects unit, because Cardinal is not only suitable for building your own modular synths, it can also be used as an external effect, just like a reverb or delay in Ableton. So if you pull up Cardinal and you browse by the tag effect, you can see there's all stuff in here. And of course, you have your usual bread and butter stuff like tremolos and choruses, reverbs, phasers, you know, the usual suspects. But there's also some really out there stuff in there. So let's see what we can do with these and mangle something into oblivion, because that's what I do. All right, we're going to start off with one of my favorites, which is Plateau. You've seen this in other Cardinal videos I made already. This is a reverb, but it's so much more, because once you start modulating all the different parameters, you can get some really, really wild results. Let's have a listen to the original loop first. So this is just a typical bread and butter percussion loop. And let's engage Cardinal. Let's find out what we can do with Plateau. So, completely day and night. This sample has nothing to do with what we started out with. And it's a really, really simple patch. So the effects unit in Cardinal works like this. You get this host audio module on the left side, and this will pipe everything from Ableton into Cardinal. And then you go out into whatever effect you want to use. And that is pretty much it. The signal flow is similar to any effect you would use in Ableton. So the only thing I really did here was to use an LFO. Essentially I used 3, because this is called a tri-LFO. And the parameters I was modulating were the dry-wet amount here. Then you have another cable that goes to the diffusion CV input. Diffusion is this knob here. And lastly, we're modulating the pre-delay, which is over here, and the high cut. So the very useful thing with Plateau is there are attenuators built in the module, and you can control how much modulation is going into the module with these little attenuators here. So let's play around a little bit with it. So that's already pretty cool in my opinion, but let's also engage some OTT and the new Ableton Live 12 Raw device. It's starting to speak to me already. Let's have a listen to this. So as you can see, this is a pretty out there thing. Love Plateau. It's in almost every patch I do in Cardinal on VCV Rack, and you should try it out for yourself. It's free of charge, and maybe you come to love it as much as I do. Next up, we have a sequence I built from synth samples. It sounds like this. I just added a little bit of delay here. And let's open Cardinal, and for this one I'm not even gonna try to describe what that plugin does, because I simply don't know. The parameters are not exposed in any way, so you cannot really see what the purpose behind them is. Let's find out what it sounds like. So this is the plugin in question we're using. It's from a company called VoxGlitch, and it's called Satanonaut, if I pronounce this correctly. Anyway, you got this lovely picture of this gentleman here, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 knobs, and nobody really knows what they're doing. Doesn't really matter though, because this is one of these plugins that just completely destroys your sound, but in a very nice way. So we're gonna see what we're dealing with in a second here. And then we have a chorus right behind that, just to give it a little bit more space and wideness. Let's have a listen. As you can see, this one is completely nuts. So I resampled a really long take, and then I took out the best parts and gave them a little bit of processing. So I added a corpus device and a grain delay. You can see my settings here on the screen. A little bit of amp, not that much, really 32%. So just to add a little bit more of crunch beneath that, a little bit of side chaining, and the end result was this. Let's have a listen in context. Resampling really is one of my favorite techniques, especially when you work with a unruly plugin like this, because the results are not really repeatable in many cases, and the timing might be off, and you might have to switch around a little bit with the warp modes and find the markers, put them in the right spot. But once you do, and that's like an effort of maybe 2 or 3 minutes, you have some, in my opinion, very nice groovy samples. Last one on the list for today is an FM sequence. Sounds like this. Of course, done with our lovely operator. I just have a little bit of echo going on and a little bit of another delay on my first return channel. So in this instance, I use the spring reverb. This is from Befaco. It's also available in Cardinal and VCV Rack. And we're going to ignore everything that is modulation to the right side for now and just have a listen to the spring reverb itself. Very nice sound and reverb, in my opinion. The fun begins when you start to modulate a certain parameter in here. So you can see we have input 1 and input 2, and input 1 is fed by our FM sequence. Input 2 is not really used. So I used the wet output of the spring reverb and fed it back into the module. So we essentially have a feedback path. Feedback is something that can sound very, very cool, but also can be quite dangerous for your speakers and monitors. So be aware. Always, and I mean always use a limiter when you use feedback. I'm using this one right now. My seating is at -6 dB. So in theory, it should be fine. So the volume of input 2, where our feedback path is coming in, is on the right side here, and it's controlled by CV with a relatively slow LFO. You can see it here. It's 0.07 hertz roughly, and I have an attenuator going on, so not the full signal is sent to the CV in. And then I can just raise this slider here, and we have essentially an offset. So right now there's no feedback going on at all, but if I raise the slider, you can hear it coming in. and you can see it doesn't even want to stop. So feedback is one of these things that lends itself to achieving a very organic sound, because the sound is created by the original sequence. But please keep in mind, I can't mention this often enough, limiter, limiter, limiter behind every feedback chain. Future me here with a quick announcement. We're also going to start with our new track feedback format soon. Just send us your tracks on our Discord server. I'm going to blend it in right here. And then your tracks will get feedback from a variety of international artists very soon on this channel. And these streams are going to be live. So you can chime in via the chat in real time if you like to. So yeah, really looking forward to your creations. That's it for today. Please make sure to check out our website, SINEE.de. We just had a big website relaunch. Everything new, and also available in English language now. So you can browse by products in English if you want to. I'm going to blend in the website right here so you can see what it looks like. And in my opinion, it came out really neat. So have a look around. Maybe you discover something you like, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care.